downtown Jerusalem was struck by an earthquake this afternoon, measuring 5.8 on the Richter scale.
The epicentre was right in the heart of the city, and I can believe it. The government officers shook for a full minute, I'm sure. Well, the State Emergency Action Plan swung into action immediately. And I think that government can take great credit for that.
Well, it's important to provide a quick response at times like this. Fortunately, we had a lot of officers on call that day. A strong, visible police presence is important to prevent looting and offences against public order.
Yes, of course I've heard the stories of the earthquake. People believe the earthquake was divine judgment for executing Jesus. But I'll tell you something. If it was divine judgment against us, it was for us for tolerating that man for so long, for sympathising with him, and for allowing him a platform for his blasphemy.
The newer buildings built under the recent government building code all withstood the quake very well. Most of the damage was to the poorer, older areas. In terms of casualties, I think it was just a handful in the end.
My men were involved in the coordination of 37 rescues over those days, and many of them making headlines.
The emergency response was well and truly underway, and all of a sudden I get a call from this newspaper editor who, let's just say, his political persuasions are not towards the government.
Yeah, we were dealing with the earthquake, and this guy is worried about how the obituary notice is worded. I mean, for heaven's sake, get your priorities right. And there was this, well-respected business leader who was behaving, well, rather irrationally, I thought.
Joseph Arimathea, well, he's the kind of guy that if he wants a politician's ear, no doubt he'll get it.
You'll see on the public record that I've given substantial donations to both sides of politics over the years. So I don't associate myself with any one particular party.
Well, when a man like Joseph Arimathea comes calling, you don't send him away. Not if you're a politician, anyway.
Well, I had done some favours over the years for Pilate. So despite the bedlam of that afternoon, he was still kind enough to give me a few minutes alone.
Actually, I thought he was coming around to lobby for some government building contracts, which I thought was a bit premature, I'm sure.
I know a lot of CEOs, and the CEOs I know have all prepared their own burial plots for themselves and their families, very substantial burial plots. I think business leaders tend to be good forward planners, that's all.
He wanted the dead body of Jesus. Bizarre. Said he wanted to give him a decent burial in his own family tomb. I said yes, of course.
Obviously I like to stay out of politics, but in this case there was a clear travesty of justice and a lack of proper judicial process. I thought the guy deserved better than just an anonymous pauper's grave.
No sooner had I dealt with that interruption than I get an impromptu visit from the Leader of the Opposition. But did he come to assist in dealing with the earthquake, or matters of law and order, or national significance? No. He was playing politics while the city was in chaos.
No. I completely reject that assertion that I show no concern for the citizens of the city. That's completely untrue. You must understand that this earthquake was trivial compared to the threat posed by this fellow.
Everything is about this Jesus of Nazareth. I mean, the guy's dead and he's still causing me grief.
I think the opposition had quite legitimate concerns. I mean, it was well known that he'd been going around saying to certain people that he was going to rise from the dead. We thought there might be a possibility that some of his more fervent followers would go in there and steal a body and then claim that he was alive again. Now, you imagine what sort of civic disturbance that would cause.
There's just no pleasing some people. I had to go along with him just to get on with matters of state. I handed the matter over to the Commissioner of Police.
Personally, I thought Pilate's request was ridiculous, but it's not my position to question government decisions, so I complied with the request. 2 guards were stationed at Jesus' tomb around the clock on a rotating basis. Seemed unnecessary, in my opinion.
It was one thing after another all day. I hadn't had a chance to see him. So in the evening we sat down to a late meal and we opened a nice bottle of Italian red.
I was actually quite content at the end of the day. I felt I got on top of everything. Of course, the real disaster was about to strike.